Recording is on.
Okay.
Alrighty. Okay, so yeah, no more family therapy, I guess. Complain. All right. Yeah. So one of the things that I was thinking, Joe, is the fact that what I would love to have at some point is a completely rewritten window maker that actually focuses on GNUstep first, um, in the sense that it'll allow you to dock both X applications, and it will allow you to dock GNUstep applications, um, but it will also pay attention to, like you said, GSTeam and stuff like that. Um,
Right.
yeah, so I mean, it just seems to me like it would be better to practically rewrite the whole thing in using GNUstep. I mean,
Or-
I would love to keep the current icon though. I really do like window makers like that. But yeah.
So ours is based off XCB kit. The guy I think that was working on that wrote in the lists a long time ago, and I just kind of picked it up from there and started making certain things work that didn't work. So it's not really like an all new app or anything. It's just picking up where that left off.
Hmm.
But the thing I really like about it versus Window Maker is it doesn't use wings or anything. It's all 100% native GNU step. There's no like outside dependencies that are difficult to compile.
Hmm.
And the fork of Window Maker you talk about does a little bit of GS theme sync. I know that, but I had trouble getting it to just go all the way. Um, Whereas I was able to kind of pull it off with the XCB kit thing.
Hmm.
But of course there was a lot of work to do because it didn't have like extended window manager hints working, and we just recently got that working. And you had a lot of just little quirks here and there.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys are pretty much doing what I just said,
Hmm.
or rather, what I was just thinking of, because the fact that, yeah, I mean, it sounds like I remember XCB Kit. Is XCB Kit a sort of like an Objective C window manager sort of framework?
Yes, and so what I eventually ended up doing last year, and it took me like 6 months to pull it off, was um, I ported it to like be an actual AppKit app so that it could go further with GS theme things. Um, because at first it was just like a framework and then a tool. Um, you guys still there? I lost audio.
I muted myself because I'm typing.
Okay. So first, yeah, it was just like a framework and then a tool. So, I as it stands out of box, um, the fork that we picked up wasn't able to go that far, but like with some tricks over time, turning it into an actual AppKit app that runs, I was able to make it basically do decorations for AppKit decorations for non-GNU Step apps as well. So whatever theme you pick, it actually does apply the color of the title bar and stuff exactly, and the text. It's just some things like the button placement, because themes like Rick Swizzle NS, what is it? Not NS toolbar. No, sorry, they swizzle the GS theme methods that place those buttons. Um, I haven't found a way to make it like dynamically get those values and settings and stuff from the theme itself. It works a little bit better with the built-in themes for that, but it's a rabbit hole. But so if I could somehow get past that, I think it would be like a really really good alternative, because then like you could switch to any GNU Step theme you want, any layout you want, and all of your X11 apps and stuff would just adapt. And then at that point, it wouldn't be anything external, no wings, no none of that stuff. It would just be whatever the rest of your GNU Step is using.
yeah, that would be actually pretty cool. Um, yeah, I mean,
Because, like, for example, to compile Gershwin on like a low end system, like a 2 core system with the window manager, I can do that in under 5 minutes. But as soon as I add like a window maker in, that's like another 30, 40 minutes. But so to me, it's like it's would be so much better to have something truly native to GNUstep versus something that pulls in outside things. As much as I wanted to avoid the work of writing a window manager, because I really didn't.
well, I mean, got to be honest with you. That's one of the things I find that we often have to do is work on things that we really don't want to work on.
Hmm.
Because I feel like, yeah, absolutely. Cool.
But yeah, I just decided rather than like try to retrofit XFCE window manager or window maker or anything anymore, that it was better. I mean, not only for the build experience, so you can grab the entire project and build it in a couple of minutes, but as far as going further with integration, it just seemed better to try to do it all natively.
Yeah, no, I personally, I mean, I agree. Absolutely. That's great, man.
And I'm hoping to turn it into something, like I said, that other projects or other people that are, you know, not really interested in the Gershwin experience or this theme, to just be able to grab that repo, pull it into their project, pick up and run.
Hmm. I do like the fact that, I do like the idea of XCB Kit, and I really like the fact that you made it its own independent application. I mean, it kind of reflects how, like, for instance, when I used to sort of like do a little bit of archaeology on my next machine, and I found out that what is it? One of the things that's interesting is that certain different um, like processes are implemented inside of um, workspace as separate applications. That it just basically starts up that application and then communicates with it over DO,
Right.
or yeah, distributed object. And so basically, what you end up with is you know sort of a network of all these different processes that are handling different parts of the user's interaction.
Hmm.
And that what you're talking about reflects that, because what we would I mean obviously what we would have is a window manager that is managing Windows for X applications, but also for GNU Step applications, and then also we would have probably another application managing the dock. Um, so so yeah, I mean I absolutely see that, and that's cool. That's very cool.
Thank
Um,
you. But yeah, it's just, I mean, fortunately that was out there, that XCB kit work, um, which, I mean, I was just highly impressed as soon as I found it anyway. But and I've known about that for years, and I mean, I first started probably toying with it a couple of years ago, but last towards the end of last year, spent like 6 months, and then pro bono helped unblock me on a lot of stuff. So,
I got to be honest with you, I'm really glad to have Pro Bono back.
oh, me too, yeah. And there's was another contributor even that jumped in and helped with some major things. So it's been more than just me working on it, really. I should say, but I'm glad that you know they turned into something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I've been working on doing some fixes in Gorm. Um, Recently, one of the things that I had worked on a while back are bindings, and bindings were unsupported in Gorm. I do have some changes with respect to that, but one of the things I fixed, and I'll show you guys this in a second. One second. Is we used to have no sort of like inspector, and this is unremarkable, but we used to have no inspector for like just generic views. Um, and I wanted to create one because what we used to in Gorm, what we used to have is what I would call the generic inspector, because what it would try to do and this code is ancient. It basically tries to anticipate the type of every single selector inside of the object, and then it will try to translate whatever you type into the input field into whatever that selector needs. Now, God help you if it needs an object, because of the fact that obviously you can't do that. But you know, it was the fallback for a very long time. But what we have now, what I've done now is I basically, hold on.
Oh, we're not seeing your screen if you were meaning to share too, by the way.
No, no, I just, that's
Okay.
all. Hold on a second. Yeah, there's my screen right there. What I did was, what I've done recently is um, I have fixed, what is it, grouping. And grouping is, of course, when you can do something like this, where you basically just say, okay, well, give me, group this inside of a, you go format, group, and then put it inside of a split view, right? Okay, yeah, right there, like that. All right, and one other thing it can do, the split view stuff can also do, it also, based on your orientation of your things, it'll guess how you wanna split it. So I put it in a scroll view. Hold on a second, and then I'll put this in a I'll put this in a larger split view. See, and it'll put the, see where it puts the split right there, because
Oh, cool.
it was vertically fit. Now, one of the things that I've also worked on recently is, for instance, I have, you can group things in just a raw view, right? Um, So basically, what I did was that, and now we're in a view. But we had here
Nice.
before was, if you see this inspector, we have here is an inspector that I created for NSUs. I mean, and of course, you can do stuff like, change the size, whatever. I have some refresh issues, but it needs to more. Oh, well, wait a minute. Actually, no. Yeah, I do have some refresh issues, but that's easy to fix. So, I mean, so now we have an actual inspector for this stuff, rather than just falling back to the one that we had before. All right.
Cool.
So what I'm going to do is, right now I'm going to switch. Ah, branch. Right. And here I have. Hold on one second. This is not completed, but this will just give you a sort of an overview of what's happening. I added another inspector, um, for bindings that will show the bindings for any particular what do you call it, object, and different ones have different bindings. NSTable has certain bindings, but NSButton has certain bindings, and so on. So what this will do is it'll basically bring up an inspector for those bindings, so that you can make alterations. And there are not inspectors for every object type. So it takes a guess and it tries to determine what inspector you're looking for. And if there's one implemented for it, it'll bring it up. One second, I'll show you. Okay. So, all right. So you may notice now we have bindings right here. All right. So if I do this, and for instance, I mean, I've actually never tried this. Let me see. Will it give me bindings for it? Yeah, well. All right. Now, as you can see, the only binding that exists on NS Window is title. So it says Gorham bindings title inspector. Now, there's no specific, that inspector doesn't exist. That's just a guess by the code. So this is the sort of the generic bindings inspector. So as you can see, it lists my window, NSApp, NSUser defaults. This is dynamic. These two are basically there by default, right? And if I go NSUser defaults, it switches to values, because it's going to get the values off of that controller, off of that particular object. But it'll get it off of self, and then whatever you add as a path. When you select a regular object other than defaults, because it sort of sort of sorry, wait a minute, values. Yeah, sorry. Yep, sorry. Ah, this is why we use it. This is why we have. This is why it's beta software, right? Um, yeah, it's this should click. This should switch to NSApp. Apparently, it's not. I've got something set up wrong. But yeah, I mean, right now this should be NSApp. But if I type a path here and then hit bind, it's going to add a connection to in Gorm that is basically an NS bind connector object, NSIB bindings connector object. So this is analogous to what you would do in Xcode. What I need to do is once I make sure that the bindings are working, from this level, I need to make sure that they're being saved properly in zip files, and I mean, they're already being read properly, but I need to make sure that Gorm is generating them properly. But that's what I've been working on. Plus, just various bug fixes and various other things like that. Like the one I did for Lars, which we were discussing before you came. So yeah, I mean that's what I've been working on. Um,
Nice.
Gregory, I have a question. Gorm is based on Gorms, yeah?
mm-hmm. Yes,
Could
Gorm
we
write itself.
Gorm make based on XIP so that we can easier port it to macOS?
No, Gorm is very heavily tied to libgui, and let me put it like this: if we basically stopped using Gorms and stopped using nibs and just use zip files, we could get rid of that dependency. But right now, it's a hard dependency because if you ported Gorm to macOS, what you'd end up with, if you base it on top of macOS, object, you'd end up with basically nib files.
Yeah, exactly. But the nib files had to be created first. You can't convert the Gorm files to nib files, or can't you?
No. Yeah, well, you can if you load them up into Gorm and then save them as nib files, sure.
And why don't we just save the Gorm files that we use now for Gorm, not as zip files?
Because Gorm models are well tested and we know that they work very well. Nib files and zip files work, but they're buggy in Gorm not in Gorm, in GNUstep because of the fact that we can't pin down or know the underlying mechanics fully. It's always going to be sort of an unknown system that we're chasing for us, always. That's the problem. That's one of the reasons why we've never done that, is because of the fact that you may have noticed some nib files break, some zip files, some very few, but they fail to load. So, yeah, that's why.
I just thought it would be an interesting idea if we just save the Gorm files from Gorm as zip files.
Well, I mean, it's a good idea in theory, but the problem is that it's just too buggy.
It's
There's no
buggy.
buggy right now. Buggy, yeah, very very.
Okay,
Buggy.
so we have to wait for more stable versions of Gorm.
No, we have to wait for the zip file and the nib file support to be more mature in GUI.
Okay.
Yeah. So, also in Interface Builder, one of the things is that zip generation is not handled by AppKit on macOS, not at all.
Okay.
Whereas in previous versions of macOS, nib file generation was in fact tied to how each one of those objects encodes itself, based on an NS keyed encoder, keyed archiver. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So the problem is that when we figured out how to load nib files, loading them is one thing because you can make inferences with respect to what you might want to accept and what you might not want to accept. Generating them is an entirely different issue because of the fact that when you generate them, macOS might actually expect something that you are not providing, that we are not providing, and that's happened a number of times because the fact that,
Okay.
huh? Yeah. So I mean, that's the issue with nib file generation. Is it works, you'll get a nib file out of it, but it may not be loadable by macOS. The same thing applies with zip files. Zip files are something that are generated on macOS by Xcode for Xcode only. When you build build a application on macOS, generally it compiles the the zip file into a nib file. Okay, so
Mm.
yeah, on that one, Xcode build has another process, and I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called I don't know if it's called IB tool. IB tool will load up the zip file and spit out a nib file for you, and that nib file is created with AppKit, but the zip file is entirely handled inside of Xcode. I mean, and of course they are Apple, so they know their ins and outs. I don't.
Of course.
There are things that my zip file. I mean, I've generated perfectly looking, like absolutely wonderfully beautiful zip files that don't load because it's missing some nuance, and I don't know what that is.
Mm.
That's why. Because in theory it makes sense, but in practice it's difficult because it's a standard that we don't know. It's not something that we can and something that we'll always be chasing. So it makes it difficult. You see what I'm saying, Mark?
Yeah, what?
You see what I'm saying?
I didn't say anything, no.
No, I said, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, of
Okay.
course. I didn't understand what you asked for.
Oh no, I was
I
just asking if you was asking you to say yes, I understand, or no, I don't.
Yeah, I understand this.
Yeah.
So it's a vision that's a bit far off for now.
Yeah, it's what if it's attainable at all. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I just wrote. I'm going to send you this. By the way, this is sort of the conclusion of our family therapy session. Let me see.
So Joe, what you working on in the last time?
Well, I had a new sidebar thing to show off for the workspace file viewer, but my desktop is locked up as.
Joe,
Joe, we lost him, I guess.
he said his desktop is locked up.
Yeah, now it seems to be final.
Did you see my
Yeah,
my text? What do you think?
I think.
Hey, Joe.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, I can. I see two of you.
Yeah.
Which one is the active you? Because I'm going to drop it. There we go. Yes, we can still hear you.
So
Can you still hear us? Okay, I'm guessing he can.
Okay, he's gone for now. Looks like. Nobody else today. It's a lonely meeting again. It looks like.
I'm not sure that's. I'm sure that that's. I'm not entirely sure that that is not on purpose.
So, what was the code you put in the preamble? Why it
I
had to
I
be?
added a line that was called that added Objective C files if we had, because of what I wanted to do. What I didn't want to do is I didn't want to add if def, have NS movie or have this AV codec or something like that, and then comment out the whole. I mean, sorry, conditionally compile out the whole file while actually leaving the file still in the make file. So what I did was is I added a variable that added those files if AV codec was found. Okay, and
Okay,
the issue.
now I hear again. Sorry,
Okay,
Yes, okay. Nice.
I was clicking around at things, and I'm running some kind of experimental workspace code here.
Are you eating your own dog food now?
Oh, I have been. I usually avoid it for the meetings just because of stuff like this,
Okay.
but
Can you show something?
yeah, yeah. Sorry. Start screen sharing. All right. You see everything?
Yeah.
yep.
So this is what I've been working on. This new sidebar that I've got like in a pull requests. Been working it out. It now has a detection to determine. I think I just locked it up again. Son of a bitch! It just locked up.
Can you reboot?
So something about hovering over here.
We can still hear you,
Yep,
but you can't go on with the show, I guess, yeah?
I can't.
Do
Yeah,
you,
I'll have to figure that out.
oh, let me before you reboot or restart. Let me ask you a question, Joe. Is that is your sidebar based on NS outline view?
Yes, but yeah, it's got some issues over here. Like with this, I just I've been using this for days and I didn't discover this until now. Something about hovering over here by the close button.
Mm-hmm.
It caused some kind of I think it's probably another drain issue with dispatch and other things that we use now.
Hmm.
But anyway, I can at least talk through what it does.
Right.
Um, the it's got the network user. If I'm a network user, if I'm a local user, it'll say local user, and then like you can see your home folder, applications, documents, downloads, all the traditional things, and then domains will take it to local. You can see local applications and users, network applications and users, system applications and users, and then when you mount something, if you mount a device or you know a, a a sharing over SSH or SMB, it'll expand that bar if it needs to if it's like a really long system name or a really long volume name. Let me kill this because I think I can pick up with as long as I'm careful about not dragging over the top there, and then I'll show this off properly.
Okay.
Okay.
Be right back.
All right.
See you in a second. Yeah, this looks quite good.
It's beautiful.
What kind of browser is this? So how's the refactoring of the scripts going? Are you working on it again, or is it still?
I am. I've also started to work on a Mac OS build script so that we can build, directly on Mac OS. I'll show you that in a minute.
Okay. The other
Okay.
possibility is, okay, so you see local users, and I drill into library. You see how it builds a breadcrumbs thing down there,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
then preferences, and it builds breadcrumbs, and then like I'm just trying to be careful here, not to.
Not to click
Like
on that. I see.
if I go mount something, like OBS Studio, it shows up here under volumes,
Oh, nice.
and then this is an application running inside of that Squash FS image. That's you know,
That is
totally,
really cool,
and then see full menus, everything,
dude.
and that's running over my NFS backed network share with the directory services stuff.
Hmm.
Okay. Nice.
So all of this stuff is basically running over a network, and then I can unmount it. We need to work that out. It's not like safely unmounting the volume like it should. It's just ejecting. But and then we've been I've got thumbnailers working now. So like if you screenshot, if I didn't lock up the system, I take a full screen screenshot and I go save it, name it, and then you'll see over here.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's strange. I don't know why that didn't. I don't know what happened there. Usually shows a thumbnail.
It's the demo gods. The demo gods are not pleased.
The demo gods are not pleased. Yeah, that's it. Let's try saving it as test. There we go.
Now it works close.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a refresh problem because you see how GNUstep meet
Yep.
went to, yeah.
And one problem I've ran into with that is when like your library gets wiped, those cached thumbnails go away. So I need to like find a way to regenerate them. But it does thumbnail everything with FS Watcher using iNotify and stuff as it happens. And that works on FreeBSD too because they have iNotify now.
Okay.
But
This is
yeah,
currently Linux.
this is a Linux system. That I'm using on this call. I have a BSD system too. And then so you go about this computer. You see I'm running on a Mac Mini.
Yeah.
Linux kernel, all that stuff.
Huh. You're using Devon.
And then one of the primary drivers of doing this is with the old view, it was definitely really difficult to switch domains. So, I mean, I tried to make it more intuitive here, so you can cycle between local applications, system applications, and go right in. Like this is the console app wanting my password, and you'll see some tearing here occasionally. It's because I'm running the compositor by default. So we have compositing, drop shadows, all that stuff, and if I can minimize windows like that, or I can zoom in a window.
Right.
Or with the workspace view here. Come on. Hang on, let me. Not sure why menu stopped responding. I probably locked it up again. Another factor here too could be I've noticed something with running Chromium and X11 apps, sometimes fiddling with stuff I'm doing. And I am running also Pro Bono's experimental menu performance branch where we're trying to when you switch an app, get menu updates real time.
Right.
But that's it's not finished also. So I'm running a lot of unfinished work that's not even pushed. trying to help him and trying to stabilize my thing at the same time.
Right.
Do you have Miller columns at the moment?
That's what I was trying to show off, but things kind of stopped responding. Let me see. I may have to kill it again. Yeah, let me do that. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem.
It fades out slowly.
Okay, I'm back looking for share screen. Share screen. Okay, hopefully it survives it this time. But so I go to. There we go. So you can do like as icons, as list, as columns. And it's
Ah,
the same breadcrumb navigation that still works.
Very nice.
that's nice, really.
And I'm gonna be careful, but after this call, I'm gonna like um, run LLDB and things and figure out what the hell's going on with that when I'm
What
circling around this part.
what happens if you click a file in the last column?
Oh,
Just click.
it just shows it in the breadcrumb thing.
Okay, but you have a column on the right side. You could add an inspector there.
Oh no, I do have a scroll bar on the right side that will show up if if the contents fill up. If
Yeah,
that's what
but for in macOS, it's like if you click a file, you get an information about a file.
Oh, we can still do that with right click if, but I'm probably locked up. Let's see. Yeah, it does usually get info. Usually does work there, but
So, okay, now, Joe, I want to ask you a couple questions. Um, and this is because what I want to make sure of is that we're finding issues in GNUstep itself. Um, are you using? This is why I asked if you're using as outlined view. Um, so if you are, if you guys find any issues, please make sure that we know about them because
oh, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, usually our process is to either create a patch for GNU stuff itself or a bug ticket.
okay,
And if we have to patch something temporarily ourselves, we don't fork the core libs or anything. We just make a patch file
okay, good,
that
good, good.
just temporarily kind of like you know
No,
patches that source for the time being. And then when, like the other day, someone fixed the issue for um, the sticky menu thing here.
mhm.
And now I've got to go pull that patch out because it's no longer needed. But it was just removing a line in a file.
Yeah, I think I actually did see that. And for the breadcrumbs, there was a there rather is a something called NS path control.
Uh huh.
Are you using that, or did you implement it
I don't
separately?
remember. I'd have to go back and look, but I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean the only reason I ask is because I want to make sure that I just I want to make sure that because okay, and I know we've had this
Now,
discussion before, and I know that that's your guys' philosophy. But like for instance, in GNU Mail, what you ended up with is it's particularly like two separate projects or two separate applications written in the same
Yeah.
source code, separated by if-defs, um, and or like in G Workspace, as you've seen, um, in some cases, like particularly with NS Browser, G Workspace has its own version of NS Browser, right? And that's
Yep.
because instead of contributing back to NS Browser to the main, what is it, library, it was, yeah. I just want to make sure. I'm just very cautious about that, and I know that you guys are you guys have been contributing
And
stuff back. I just want to make sure that
that
we don't go down a path.
that's something too that, yeah, we try to use APIs all the time instead of reinventing things, as you were saying. And then, like, it is kind of on our, so we've removed a lot of things from building. Like, tab shelf is gone; it doesn't even build, doesn't even load a bundle anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of those things have been a lot of the source tree has been cleaned up, and like a lot of things have been removed that weren't using for this. And there's still a lot of like refactor I'd like to do, like using native NS browser more, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's just trying to do those things incrementally, one at a time, so I don't completely break it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Yeah, it wasn't. I wasn't saying that you're not doing anything wrong. I was just making sure that we were.
Oh yeah, that's totally. I'd rather use GNUstep native methods for everything than like reinventing, for sure.
Okay.
Because then, like, you're introducing, I don't know how to say this right, but you're often adding new edge cases if you write your own code versus reusing
Right.
the core libraries.
Well, I mean, also hitting the. I mean, it goes to the old sort of the best code that you. I mean, this goes to something that Steve Jobs said a long time ago. The code that is the most stable is the code that you don't have to write. And
Hmm.
so basically, the point is that obviously, you know, you want to make sure that we want to make sure we're stressing out the core components as much as possible, because in
Yeah,
doing so we make them more stable. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I was going to say nothing helps the foundation of a house become more solid than actually building the house on top of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, yeah. So that's my whole point. And I know that you get that, and I wasn't saying that you didn't. I was just saying. I just want to make
No,
sure.
I appreciate that, because I what'd you call that? NS path bar?
NS path control.
NS path control? I'll have to look into that to make sure that is what I use there. But NS outline view for sure is what I used for the sidebar.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because it looks like NS path control. Um, so yeah, I was just trying to make sure, but I don't think I see. The thing is I may have had the names, but I don't know if I had the icons. So that's why I was
Mhm.
wondering.
And actually, this area down here, all I really did was move it. It was up top before,
Mhm.
and I moved it down to the bottom, and I shrank it. And then, like, I did some manipulating here, so that it's
Oh,
more of a
so you very
rendering.
likely are not using NS path control. You're probably using a browser, NS browser view or something like that.
Exactly. So it is whatever code that G Workspace had. I just modified it, to move it down to the bottom.
And minimize
But
it.
this code is new. Everything over here you see on the left, that's all new. That's all me. But these are new files and everything. But this is like, I just changed the behavior. I just moved it from the top to the bottom and shrank it.
Yeah. I was going to say I'm getting nervous while you're moving the mouse around. Don't hit that close button,
Yeah.
please, because there's like you need to reboot again. But no, man, it looks awesome. This looks fucking
Thank you.
great. I'm sorry to use the F word, but yeah, no, it looks
And
great.
and part of it is like because I don't like conference on this system or anything at all until now. I mean, that in itself is going to introduce new things during the call that I don't see normally, because I'm not running Jitsi while I'm sitting here testing workspace.
Are you running this in a VM or are you running this on like just
No, this is real hardware.
real hard? Okay.
Showing you earlier. So about this computer, it's an old Mac Mini that I've had since like 2016 or something.
Oh, yeah, you have one
Um,
of the same ones I do.
yeah, I just I have this. I have my ThinkPad T420 with 8 gig of RAM. And then I have some newer systems with it as well. Like the one that's running as the server.
Yeah, one thing that I've noticed is, I mean, didn't need to lock things up, Candy. Okay. Yeah. Is that, for instance, like what you're seeing with the with the menus?
Hmm.
Something that happens on Mac systems that sorry, something that happens on GNUstep that doesn't happen on Mac systems is that when you select the menu, sometimes on GNUstep, at least with the tear off menus that we use by default,
Yeah.
it will temporarily, like for a moment, freeze the application, and that's because it's not running the update to the GUI in a separate thread to the menu handling. And
Right.
I understand that is a difference between GNUstep and macOS that we don't do. I mean,
Okay.
so we have some concurrency issues that macOS doesn't have. Um, and those are things that I personally would love to dig into because the fact that I think that there are ways to do it, you know, that could solve the problem, but I'm not sure.
Well, I had noticed with the old behavior before they fixed the bug where this would, where you would not have to use the mouse to hold this to keep this open.
Mm-hmm.
This uh, residual problem where sometimes you'll like click on the desktop or something and the menu will stick. Um, that was not happening, and now it's back. I mean, I've seen this behavior for a long time where sometimes you click a menu and you click about workspace or something, and then the menu will still be there, and you have to like click something else, get it to go away, or click a different menu. Yeah, I know what you mean, like long-standing issues there, and that kind of makes sense, I guess, if it's held up in some thread or something and is not like async.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, do me a favor. Click on about this Mac, and then click on. I want to see what happens when you do more info. Does that
Yeah,
work?
there we go. That's working, not implemented yet,
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
but that's on our end.
Yeah. I imagine all you'll have to do is bring up a window with a text field and just have.
But you just made me realize there's an easy way to reproduce this. Go to workspace and go to about this, and that's where it sticks. Well, maybe not. Now it doesn't want to stick, but you've seen it happens sometimes.
Yeah. Hmm.
And there's, yeah, didn't stick this time, but and some of that garbly stuff is compositing tearing. Whoop, 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 whoop.
What happened there? Ooh.
Compositing issues.
So this is running on top of Wayland?
No, so it's still the window manager.app, but with XCV composite extensions and stuff enabled.
Okay, got you.
But we're working out some bugs with it still. It was much worse before, like you couldn't even move around windows initially without them like trailing everywhere.
Okay.
But Pro Bono and I have been working for like 2 months off and on to like polish it up, and it's getting there.
That's nice.
But that's also what's enabling the effects like this. It's using GPU and stuff for that. But yeah, I think that was probably all I had to show today.
Hmm.
It's nice.
It is very nice. It is
Thank you.
very nice. Oh,
And like,
sorry. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No. What did you have anything else to show?
No, I don't think so. I think that was the main stuff.
Well, I was going to show you guys my. Let's see, make this a little bigger. have been working on the scripts, just so you know, Lars. One thing I have been working on, I'll show it here in a minute. Also, alongside them is a. Can you guys see my?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
large.
Okay. Yeah, very nice. Much nicer than the 4K screen, right? Anyway, so it says tool scripts, and yeah,
Okay.
OSX build.
Yep. Actually, it gets all the way through GUI.
Wow.
It fails to link at the end, but I mean, you'll see. So it pulls down all the homebrew dependencies. It makes some local patches. All right.
Are you using GCC? I mean, not GCC Objective C, but Apple's Objective C
No,
or
I'm using ours. I'm using ours.
Lib Objective C?
Yeah.
How is this done? We tried it in the past when I was testing Adam Fedor to port GNUstep to Darwin.
Mhm.
Never get around disabling Apple's Objective-C runtime. It always tried to run on the Apple runtime.
It's a real pain in the ass because every compiler that is built for um, Darwin and sort of expects that you're going to use the built-in stuff
Yep.
from Apple because they really don't. It's not even considered, when it comes to.
Right.
So I had to kind of force this to not use the Apple stuff, and as you can see, it's building base. Base builds just fine. The issue that happens here is that once it gets done, it's having some initialization problems with respect to like the NS. What is it? NS auto release pool, and also as you can see, it got done with GUI, and sorry, it got done with base. It's going to get done with GUI, but it's going to have an issue at the end. So I was working last night on this, and hopefully I was going to try and see if I could give you guys a working demo today, but it didn't happen. But at the end, what it's going to do is it's going to try to run make services, and make services has an issue where see how it says invalid object encountered in an auto release pool.
Is it Gspell service that's
Yes.
something at the end?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is the Gspell service. I mean, this should work, but it's not.
Right.
I mean, because what it's trying to do is it's trying to run. I believe it's trying to run make services. And because once it gets done with this, it tries to install it, and then it tries to run make services, and then it gets this auto release pool problem. So I'm trying to get past this, but once I get past this, what I have to work on is one of two things: either getting us working so we have so that we can connect with the X free libraries and basically run the next application, run GNUstep, have GNUstep applications run as X applications on Mac OS 10, which is fine.
That's cool.
Or
what I can see here, there's GCC in the game.
Huh?
Is this right?
Yeah, this is GCC. Where?
Yeah, why GCC?
Because a Clang build, the built-in Clang build, assumes Apple's libobjective-C.
Right.
Ah, okay.
That makes sense. So you're getting around it just by using GCC instead, and then forcing it to use. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then using command line options to force it to point at the GCC runtime rather than the Mac OS runtime.
That's cool. I never thought of that. That does make sense to get.
Yeah, I mean, originally I tried to build it with the built-in Clang, and I was actually getting about halfway through base, but it was dying because of the fact that there were some defines that weren't available,
Right.
and there were some. It was pointing at certain headers that weren't compatible with GNUstep. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to make it. We're going to make it completely like use GNUstep's code. We're not going to use Apple's runtime. We're not going to use anything like that. And
right.
we're just going to. and so that is actually working. But what I'm suspecting is the problem here is that I think that the build is actually building against the proper stuff. But I think that at runtime it could be linking against some of the wrong libraries, and that's what I
Okay.
believe is the problem. I mean, because you see
Right.
these issues where it says warning duplicate path. I am concerned that, yeah, you see, I mean, I'm concerned that basically it's trying to dynamically link with something.
It looks like that. Yeah, because you have the AR Arch C64 Apple Darwin. It's like trying to link against.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's trying to link against, I believe, like Darwin specific stuff when it shouldn't.
Right.
So yeah. Or
Oh, I was gonna mention too. I did add CI this month. I made a PR to add it to libscore base that got merged. I
yeah,
made a
we need to do that for GUI too, just so you know.
I made a PR for libs opal that got merged, and so that fixes up the build. It builds now, installs, runs all the demo apps, and
Cool.
allows it to run with libs quartz core. That PR has not been merged yet. I don't think anyone's looked at it. But then there's also libs back. I fixed up the opal backend. I
Cool.
got that merged also. There's still a little bit more to work to do in a follow up, but it's functional now. So you can you switch the drawing from Caro to when you're
Opal.
configuring
Right.
libs back, you can use opal again, and you'll notice if you try to run it, there'll be like a delay starting apps and stuff. I still need to fix that. I was trying to fix it in a manner to where everything is self-contained into that source opal folder instead of touching XGS server and all those other things. But that stuff did all get moved forward this month that we talked about last month, and I had some work for to fix it. And then it's just libs quartz core, and then I've got to do some follow-ups. But a lot of stuff merged there this month that fixes things.
That's awesome. Man, oh, Jesus Christ. Man, that's impressive. Whatever they're paying you at your job, Joe, they're not paying you enough.
Thanks.
I
What was I going to say
that's
about
impressive.
it? Yeah, that was like a couple of months effort when it kind of came around the time when I was doing that Ladybird porting, and I realized like at first I thought GNUstep has no NS run loop at all, CF run loop, and then I realized after searching the org and stuff that it does have it. There's this other library, libscore base, and then like and then I found the opal stuff, which I've seen off and on for years, but just never dug into it. And I was thinking, well, surely if I have these extra things and these extra APIs available, it's going to make porting apps that much easier. And I'm not like writing new methods, and I'm using APIs, kind of like we talked about earlier with Workspace. So, and I actually got as far as making an experimental display server with all this, which I put a screenshot of in the libs back PR. But it can render things on screen, the menu, the app, everything. I don't have input working yet, but basically, it could be a complete replacement someday for Wayland or X11, its own standalone Windows server app, if you will, that just uses Caro and libs quartz core and things to rather than sorry, not Caro, Opal and the Opal thing instead of Caro and X11 or Wayland servers.
Where did you say the PR where you had that picture was? Okay.
That was in the libs back repo. If you go look at the pull request that was merged, I had a screenshot of the
one of the merged pull requests. Let me see. I'm trying to find it.
Yes. Is it something about make opal functional again or something?
Yes. Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, it says verified Opal backend renders correctly. Workspace
Yep.
Cairo backed. Okay. Yeah, one thing that I have did experimentally, and I think I showed you guys this a while back, was um, I implemented a very simple PostScript parser on top of what do you call it? On top of because your application over here, your test reminds me of that. Because what
Mhm.
I did was is I basically made it so that it had a very rudimentary stack, and it parsed uh, some subset of PostScript, and
Right.
it would allow you to like draw stuff on the screen using PostScript. So basically, it was an entirely GNUstep backed version of Preview that would basically bring up a PostScript file and render it.
Oh wow.
Not completely, but it's an experiment to show that it's actually possible. And
So,
I forget what I.
so those rendering tests you see on screen were actually not mine. It was the original developer who wrote all that stuff in the repo,
Oh yeah.
but they weren't
Hmm.
they weren't running until I just made fixes to it, basically.
Oh yeah, Ivan did that.
Ivan, yeah. So I just got it building again, and then got the demo apps running again. That's what that PR does mainly.
Yeah, I think I might start running. I might start using Opal as my back end at this point because I want to kind of stress it out a little bit.
So I have a one-line patch that fixes the whole performance issue. Um,
Really? Wow.
yes, it, but I didn't like it, and I wanted to come up with something better. But let me share it in the chat here. I just have to find it.
Am I still sharing?
No.
Okay.
Let me think where I was. All right, so this is like a highly experimental fork of everything that is Gershwin,
Mhm.
where I've been toying with this not to break Gershwin. And that's the code that fixes it. So when you start with the Opal backend, making these modifications in XGS server,
Mhm.
this is something Claude came up with, and I wanted to find it, see if there's a better way to handle. But this fixes it so you can um, instantly open GNUstep apps, basically, and almost everything with this backend with this works. Except there's some issues with menu where certain things don't render. Like if you click File in the menu, the first four things are not really visible. They're kind of like invisible. And then like terminal doesn't work, doesn't render. And I'm trying to remember what that issue was, but that's a probably more complex one. But other than that, I would say it's like 80% there.
Mhm.
And hold on, let me get the link.
Yeah,
There's a link to.
you said 80%, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like it'll start the desktop. Everything looks the same as Gershwin does.
Mhm.
There's issues with the terminal. I can't remember what offhand what that was because this was like months ago, and I need to pick back up. But it wasn't those that and the menu issues were not trivial for me to fix. But those are like the outstanding issues: is fixing the terminal to be able to render and interact with it, and then fixing the issues with the menu that you'll see if you ever try it. But then there's also this workaround that I shared here in the chat that if you don't have in place, every GNUstep app you open takes like 4 to 5 seconds to load.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, let me put it like this: even 1/10 of a second is an eternity.
Right.
So yeah, wow, okay.
And there has to be a way to fix it because Caro doesn't have this problem. But I just need to dig more into it.
Yeah,
Cairo,
absolutely, absolutely. Sweet. Cool.
But that's something I wanted to, if I figure out soon. I was hoping to have some time this month, so I'll make another PR for LibsBack to fix that. Whatever the issue is with the menu, and then whatever the issue ends up being with the terminal, I'll hopefully swoop all that into one more follow-up PR at some point.
Yeah.
And then it would be like I could use this daily driver thing.
Yeah, it makes sense that you will, for you to take some time to stabilize it.
Yep.
But wow, that's pretty cool.
So this initial round just got everything building again, got it functioning again with as little change as possible. And then I left out my thing where I'm touching XGS Windows Server or whatever. Because I don't want to touch shared things that, could cause regression for others without fully understanding it. And that would, that link I sent would be a shared thing that other, Caro would use.
Cairo. Yeah.
I guess is it named after Cairo, Missouri? Because
I think it's actually. I think it's named after Cairo. What is it? Egypt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you guys got the news about Notepad++ being ported for macOS?
What? Oh, Notepad++. Yes.
Oh yeah.
That.
Ported to macOS, and the guy used actually Objective-C++. And I tried to convince him to use GNUstep to port it to Windows and BSDs, but he seems reluctant.
Yeah. Maybe one of us. I mean, maybe Joe, if he ever got a picture of your desktop, he would understand that GNUstep doesn't have to be ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he has to see it and to understand it. And if he uses Qt, then he should not name it NextPad because he renamed it to NextPad because of licensing issues with the original author of Notepad++. He doesn't want this to be official.
That reminds me. I've been talking with the developer of Basilisk web browser for a while.
Mm-hmm.
For a couple of months in another group, and he's submitted a patch to add support for Long Arch, or I think that's how you say it. It's like a Chinese ARM variant or something. But anyway, he did that. He's been really interested in Gershwin. I've been sharing screenshots back and forth, and I've been really interested in his web browser, which is a fork of Pale Moon, because it's how do I put this? Building WebKit, as we talked about, is like a 12-hour process, and a lot of these what they call modern web browsers are just like it's kind of hard to make a GNUstep native version of something that I would need like a data center to build.
Yes, yeah.
And so anyway, but his project is really cool, and it actually has really decent JavaScript rendering and can open GitHub and YouTube, and is pretty functional. It's kind of like a Gecko based thing. So imagine like a Firefox, a lighter Firefox that's been kind of like continued and carried forward. So, but anyway, he is interested and has expressed interest in making a GNUstep native version of his browser.
Oh,
so,
wow, cool.
It's nice.
Where the Ladybird stuff kind of got sidelined for me for at least the time being. That might be something we see. So I thought that was worth sharing. But I still know we need like some kind of like web kit type thing, for
the WebView.
For WebView, exactly, for whether it be a mail thing or other apps.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe this is something for the browser itself. there may be something upcoming from him that it's small enough. I feel like it is something Gershwin could even bundle with all of our ISOs, and especially if it's a native version, even better.
I just posted the link for the NextPad issue
Mm-hmm.
in the chat if you want to have a look. Maybe.
Yeah, I just looked at it. I may chime in, Joe. If you can chime in and share some screenshots, that would be pretty awesome because that way they'll see.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, that way they'll see. Ooh, it does look a lot
I
like
could show
that.
like the ladybird thing too. I did, and just some other.
Yeah, nice. Wow. I mean, because when you respectfully, Lars, when you showed those screenshots that Fred, that not Fred, that Ricardo had,
Shared, yeah.
they were kind of some of our older themes, and they're not necessarily as pretty. So I do understand, they do make the point that it's themable, but it kind of we kind of need a more impressive theme, if you will, in order to make the point. So.
Yeah.
See, unfortunately, and a lot of people say this, and I get this all the time. They say we're trying to run GNUstep like a business. I'm sorry, it is. It kind of is. Um, we have to worry about how we look to the outside world. We do, we really do. Because if we don't look good, nobody's going to use us. And if nobody uses us, nobody develops with us. If nobody develops with us, then our code doesn't get improved. Period. Just saying.
Gregory,
Mm-hmm.
did you wait a second? I forgot what I wanted to say.
I gotta step away to the restroom real quick. Be right back.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. The statements of the companies that use GNUstep. Can we get some for those for the website?
Well, I think we can do it, but we don't necessarily need their permission because they are, of course, using GNUstep.
But I would ask them for permission. It would be more correct
It'd
to
be more
do
correct to do that. I mean, the list, as far as I know, is, you know,
Who has the contacts to them? Do you have contact?
well,
Are you in contact with them?
hold on 1 second. No, not all of them. One of them is Akamai, the people who do the web caching, like caching of images. They use it to categorize images on the back end. They so also, of course, eSite, the successors of in interest to what used to be Test Plant. The who else?
Music guys.
Yeah, the music guys. That being Algorithm uses this. So does the successors in interest to what is it? To App Portable, which would be Pocket Gems. And I think there's at least one or two others, but I can't remember the names. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them, and there's actually there's the people who do like Xenon. They still use our stuff to do like their automated lathe, CAD diagrams and stuff like that. So there's a few, well, quite a few that still use it. That use sorry,
Richard's
not
company
but,
also uses it, or Richard's company.
oh yeah. I forget the name of it. The telecommunication, yeah, they use it as well. I mean, it's not an extensive list, but it is a list, and I mean, it's not small, and I'm sure that there are other companies that do use GNUstep but don't say anything. They don't have to tell us, but you know, yeah, I would love to put a list of people who see, but the thing is, if we ask their permission, then we may not have a complete list. You know what I'm saying? But I would like to just notify them that we are putting it up there and saying that
I would ask them first that don't do it without their permission.
you're right. I have been accused of being an asshole before. So.
Okay. back. Sorry.
We were talking about putting up the list of companies that actually use GNUstep, and Lars was pushing back on my notion to just do it rather than ask them permission. And I said
Oh.
that well, I have been accused of being an asshole before, so yeah. So, yeah.
I was going to ask too, because there was a lot of conversation recently about from that guy who makes the Oolite game or whatever,
Oh
and
yeah, Oolite uses this too. So
and they were saying like it's difficult to get their app running on Debian, etc., because they use GCC, and I chimed in what I thought to be true is that it's really just up to the package maintainers to use GCC or Clang or
well,
make an alternate flavor, unless I'm misunderstanding, because the way it works in FreeBSD
mhm.
is if I am the GNUstep maintainer and somebody wants to make changes, they have to go through me.
Yeah, and in fact, that's what's going on in Debian, because Debian actually, I think, has a policy against using Clang by default.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, and it does, because of the fact that they are a GNU backed distribution.
Right.
So
And you even have GNU in the name. Yeah, so it makes sense.
yeah. So, oh god.
But I was saying that like it seemed more about that to me than GNUstep making GCC or Clang default. Because from my perspective, it doesn't really make GCC default. It's just the packagers are choosing to use GCC, unless I misunderstood that whole thing.
You know what? I think you're right. And I think that we need to try to convince them to do it so that they use Clang instead of
Right.
GCC.
And I don't know a whole lot about Debian packaging. I'll be real honest. I know FreeBSD only because I've been involved in it for like 20 years, and I'm now a ports maintainer. But I know with FreeBSD you can make flavors, so you can have a GNUstep version that uses Clang, and you can have a GNUstep version that uses GCC, and you can have flavors of every package. So I don't see why someone couldn't try to contribute that or work with them, to make that a reality, if Debian surely has the same thing.
Oh, there isn't. There's two more things that actually use this, Lars. The people who make
Okay.
Fantastical. It is a hold on a second.
Calendar application.
Yeah, it's hold on. Yeah, Fantastical. It's by Flexibits. Flexibits uses this. So does there's somebody who uses they created a game other than Oolite that is like a racing game, and I can't remember the name of it, but I know that it
Tux
uses this
Racer?
too. What's that?
Would it be Tux Racer or something like that? Or
No, not Tux Racer.
Was it
it-
light or something like that?
oh no, I said not Oolite.
Okay,
So
sorry, I missed that.
no, it's okay. It's a racing game, not a space game, a racing game. And they use GNUstep to build on Linux. I mean, they actually use OpenGL View, and they build, and I'm trying to find it because I know I have it here somewhere. PicoPixel uses this, of course.
yep,
Pixel.
Pixel.
Let's see. Gosh, can't remember their name. It's not really important.
Whoever makes Sogo uses GNUstep. I know that.
Yeah, I mean the list is actually not. It's not short. I mean, and I can't find it, but it's here on my machine somewhere. I'm missing it when I'm looking at it because I'm rushing to find it. But yeah, I can't remember the actual name of it, but it is pretty cool. But yeah, so yeah, I mean there's a huge list, not a huge list, but a considerable list. That uses this. So. I was hoping we'd have more people today.
It must
Yeah,
be. It
me
must be
too.
summer.
Me
It must be
too.
the summer and the weather and everyone's out.
Yeah, probably. People probably just have better things to do. Core breach. That's what it's called. Core breach. I found it. Well, and I'll show it to you guys. If it doesn't take over my entire screen. It's this app right here. Hold on a second. That app. This app uses us on Linux.
Nothing yet. It takes a while.
Huh?
Yeah, it's black screen for me.
Black screen.
Do you see it now?
No.
Nope.
Damn it.
Maybe they secured it against screen sharing.
Hmm?
Maybe they don't want you to screen share that app.
Or maybe, I mean, maybe it's rendering such that it's not showing up. Hold on, let me see if I can find their app, their website. Because it's a pretty impressive game. Yeah, here's the I'll put it in the chat. This is their
Did you press return?
yes, Lon. Yeah, this is their that's their what do you call it? Their GitHub, and yes, it does. It says on Windows they use Cocotron. Well, probably not anymore. Yeah, and on GNUstep, sorry, on Windows, sorry, on what is it? On Linux they use GNUstep. So, yeah, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, we need to make things easier for people. We really do.
I'll think about how to chime in on this Notepad plus plus though with a screenshot and just hi, I'm a GNUstep contributor and I'm trying to help with the.
Yeah, and you should say I'm one of the main developers on the Gershwin project, which is based on
Yep.
GNUstep. And here's one of our themes, and I'll chime in and say something like, "Yeah, that's just an example about how flexible GNUstep is," or something like that, and that might actually win him over. What actually might win him over is if somebody goes in and actually tries to build the project on GNUstep and just shows him that it works.
Right.
I might actually try that, but I've got too many. I'm juggling too many things right now.
That's where I've been too. I did an earlier attempt to port TextMate before I became aware of this. I think this would be probably significantly easier. I hope.
Well,
Um,
I was going to say one of the things I love about this guy's code is he has lexers for like tons of different if you look at he had under the Lexilla
yeah.
he has a what do you call it a lot of lexers um, for different languages. He's got one for 68K assembly,
Oh.
APDL. He's got ASY.
Huh.
He's got ADA assembly, BASIC, Bash, BibTeX. He's got a whole bunch of them. The only criticism that I would have for him, God help me if he ever listens to this, is that they are all sort of hard coded into this application. You should
Right.
make it so that they are plugins. But that's the only criticism I would have. It's kind of nice.
Could
Okay.
be a killer application for GNUstep if he uses it supported.
Hmm?
Could be a kind of a killer application for GNUstep if he uses it supported.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I mean, we could, if we get this working, if this we got someone got this working and just said, "Hey, it works," you're running on Linux, wonderful, that would be cool.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at some point to see how much trouble it would be. But I meant to do sooner. I just hadn't had time either.
Yeah.
Trying to get through the sidebar and other things, and that was something that's come up a lot. Like Gershwin's layout is obsolete was a thread that started at the first of the year, and then just everybody that looks at it like, man, that looks old because of the way it was oriented before. But everyone I'm showing the new work to now is like, that's amazing. I've got to try this.
Well, I mean,
And
that's one thing. You know, as I'm, I mean, as I mentioned before, I don't know if you were here when I was talking to Lars, but I'm studying for my PhD, and one of the things that it's kind of all review for me because we're going over principles operating systems in one of my graduate level classes, and of course, that's all review. And one of the things that the author, who is Tannenbaum, the guy who wrote Minix,
yeah,
said that basically you have to remember people are very visual, you know, and people will always actually no, this wasn't the operating system class. This was the one before it, the software engineering, um, advanced software engineering class. And one of the things that it says in the first chapter is people are very visual, and they'll always consider form over function. In the sense that you can make something that is wonderfully functional and completely solves all their problems. But if it's not pretty, they'll choose the one that is.
right.
And that's true.
And one of the things I did on this PR when I created it, because initially it looked quite a bit different, is um, I started back in the thread where it came up Gershwin's layout is obsolete, and then like from there posted it all over GhostBSD, posted it in the GNUstep mailing list,
Mhm.
just an early concept based off of the proposal that guy started in the thread, and then like um, 4 or 5 comments later, I made 4 or 5 different improvements, and then now it's what you see. But like, I actually like didn't design it in a silo, if that makes sense. I
Mhm.
kind of like evolved based on suggestions, and it still came out to be something that I think is a little bit unique because it exposes, the domains, and it's not like a copycat type thing. Um, but it's like kind of is a little bit of a copycat thing, but it's kind of its own thing also. And I thought it was cool because like for there were things as I posted it, and there was feedback given that I didn't think about or didn't see, or what if I had just merged it the way it was, that I think led to making it look significantly better. So I don't know, just thought that was something that was cool about it, is it wasn't just because I'm not really a design guy per se. I'm not a UX guy. I normally work on back end stuff. I've never really my first attempt ever at even doing something UI like this. I thought was kind of cool how it evolved based on comments and back and forth and review and
Well, I mean that's that. Yeah,
you know,
I mean that's good, man. I like that. One of the things that I've never understood is the fact that, like, for instance, I still have my old Next machine, right? And as you guys have seen, when you look at my desktop, it looks very Nextish. It's what I'm used to, and
yeah,
I have never understood why people don't like that because of the fact that I consider it highly, you know, um, like highly utilitarian and no frills, and just it may not be beautiful, but it's also very functional, and I like it that way. And but God forbid that I actually like that any one of us should try to force the way we feel things should look or function on anybody else.
well, I I kind of came in later in the picture as far as next step stuff goes, and I didn't really have any exposure to anything until macOS 10.2, so that's kind of where I was locked visual, design wise.
Hmm.
But um, I will say I don't think the next experience is bad with a mouse and keyboard and a desktop at all. I think it's quite usable, but it is difficult, at least for me, with a laptop and a trackpad.
Yeah, no, I see. I understand what you're
Like
talking about.
depending on the form factor, because like if you're on a desktop with precision mouse and keyboard, I think it's can be pretty intuitive to use, but that's where it falls apart for me, I guess. It's just a laptop with a trackpad.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've had like several like laptops where I've had like either a virtual machine or a VNC session. What I show you guys pretty much is I have my main like Linux machine over here that runs Trixie. It has I added to systemd something that starts up a VNC server and keeps it running and basically like will restart if it crashes. And so what you see when I show you something is me sharing out my VNC session, because I'm logged in remotely to the machine from my Mac, and so that's kind of how I operate. But yeah, I mean, it's very functional for me. But when I've used it, when I've had it on like a laptop or something like that, yeah, using the trackpad is kind of a pain in the ass, because
Hmm.
it integrates so much better with Mac OS. But yeah, no, I mean, I've
But
never
there,
had a problem with it though. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, when I had started out with Mac OS, like I don't even think there was a sidebar at all. I mean, from what I remember,
Oh yeah, no,
it wasn't until there was an upgrade later with 10.3 or something that there was a sidebar. But now I I wasn't ever opposed to the sidebar. I just didn't really know how to do it because I'm not a design guy at first. But then I just kept hearing so much about it. Like, man, this looks so old. This looks so old. And like, because I had implemented the domain things where you have, local applications, network applications. I once the minute I implemented that about a year ago, I realized this is quite difficult now to navigate around because it's like 3 or 4 extra clicks to get to things.
mhm,
And so it just clicked in my head recently. Well, if I had a sidebar, it would only be like 2 clicks instead of 4 clicks. So like I really should move forward on this as much as people have been complaining of, or not. I don't. Complaining is probably not the right word, but that's just one of the things that put people off. So I was never really opposed to it. It's just not. Some of it's not being a design guide, not um, wanting for someone else with those skills to come in and do those things, preferably.
right. By the way, speaking of, I mean, since we're on the subject, speaking of like old hardware, have you guys heard of the Lisa FPGA project?
I saw
No.
something on YouTube about it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
send you a link. It's right. Hold on.
But anyway, I'm glad I kind of got motivated to do that again, the sidebar recently, because I feel like it's going to make a big difference, and for me already, it is making a big difference.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think
But
it.
at the same time, I don't really want to become like I'm personally not a fan of the Mac OS 26 everything really rounded,
Mhm.
iOS feel. I mean,
Yeah, me neither.
I'm not a tablet guy. I don't really feel like using my arm that much.
Well, I mean, I think liquid glass is. I don't like the interface. I don't. I think it's ugly.
Right.
I think it's I think it's all the. I mean, the effect just doesn't. It doesn't hit for me. It really doesn't. You
Well,
know.
I think it's where it might put people off from working with me on Gershwin because I'm not really wanting to move too far towards that look, and some people feel like, well, to be relevant, you kind of have to like. But I just have to tend to disagree on that, and I think the user experience of computers was better
Hmm.
before we tried to make it also work on tablets.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And so, I mean, but that's where I hope maybe other projects, maybe Ambrosia or something, can fill that need so that people don't bug Gershwin to be that.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I agree with that because I think that I mean one of the things that I've always said is either we can imitate or innovate, and when I say that, what I mean is either we can follow what they do, or we can try to create something a little different that is ours and that
Right.
sets us apart.
And that's kind of where I stand with Gershwin with like domains and network computing and like all these different things is I'm trying to not just copycat things, but I'm trying to like think of it like how computers should work.
Mhm.
Like the periods of time and the different interfaces I've used that, were good experiences and, get back to some of those good ideas and not just copycat everything new. Because I don't really feel like I don't feel like there's any current Windows, Linux, Mac interface that suits me anymore. I think it's just I don't necessarily think everything that's new has been an improvement.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons kind of that I'm doing this is just because, um, when it feels like when it feels like Linux requires as much or more resources than Windows 11, I think there's a problem. And you know, I older Ubuntu was a good experience to me, but not necessarily now. It's just using it feels slow and clunky and just isn't designed as good as it was. That's just my opinion, but
Yeah.
also why I'm not trying to copycat everything new either.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I think that's probably the right way to go, is to just try to make something of our own. It's okay to be inspired by what's being done on macOS, but it's not. But I think it's a mistake to try to imitate it, because if you
Didn't want to clone macOS in the end.
Exactly.
what's that, Lars?
I said we don't want to clone macOS in the end.
Yeah, no, you're right, and because also the other danger is when you imitate, you invite comparison. Um, so in doing so, you're always going to fail against the canonical version. So what we need to do is we need to just, where we can, make things a little better. You know what I mean? I mean, in some cases we already are. We are. I mean, we. I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware. I mean, Joe, you may not be aware of this, but our base implementation is actually faster than Apple Foundation, because we do a lot of caching when it comes to selector function, like pointers and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And in fact, GNUstep was 64-bit compliant before macOS was.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah, we were actually much further along with respect to, we have led rather than followed in some cases. Um,
Right.
but of course, we're only 10 guys, so it's much more difficult for us to do that
Right.
than it is for them. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, and that's the whole thing, is we really need to just, hey man, just go wild, do make up something that's cool, and and be inspired by what they do, and don't necessarily follow. Um, I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean that's
Especially when it comes to looks and things, I'm not into the whole tablet spaced out thing and rounded things and just it doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. Um, I just don't. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, well,
That's right.
yeah. I mean, well, one of the things that, like, for instance, I don't like, for some reason, I don't like Xcode. Okay, I like it, but I don't like it, because I don't like it because it kind of combines too much into one thing, and it loses functionality along the way. Because one thing that was nice about Interface Builder was the fact that you could add palettes, and so you could extend its functionality. If you wrote a framework, you could include a palette that allowed you to work with widgets from that framework that were pre-built. With Xcode, you can't do that. Okay, and that to me is a big lose. So one of the things that you know I've been thinking about doing. I mean, you may have noticed that the libs Xcode project, even though it's a framework, it's sort of like a framework that wants a GUI. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
I've seen
saying?
the Y code thing.
Yeah, yeah. Y code is just basically, I mean, it's basically going to use a lot of the features of the framework on with a GUI that just basically helps you use the framework. I mean,
Do you
that's
think
really all it
that
is.
might be a fusion of Gorm plus Project Center at some point, or like, are you still going to keep Gorm its own thing and just have a new?
I don't know. Well, I mean, one of the things I did many years ago was I basically made Gorm into a set of libraries, mainly. I mean, the main functionality that exists inside of Gorm is Gorm Core and the interface builder framework. And you know, the plugins and various other things are built separately. So if an application, if I when I get done using Y, when I start building like really building Y code, one of the things it's going to do is it's going to incorporate Gorm functionality by including those libraries. Gorm can remain a separate application, but it's some of its functionality will be implemented inside of Y code, absolutely. But the thing is I don't want to make it too complicated because then you have to build, you know, all of GNUstep, Gorm, and then Y code in order to get Y code's full functionality because Gorm would have to be installed in order to install its frameworks. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah,
So, and I don't know whether I wanted to make Y code that complicated. You know,
right.
because then because right now, I mean, you can just build the Xcode library and just use build tool. Um, you know, so, but yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that, and it's a good thing Ricardo isn't here today, Lars, because, and he probably will listen to this, but one of the things that I don't like about Project Center is it's very stuck in the project builder sort of era. Um, it doesn't allow it will allow nested projects, but it doesn't allow them with the flexibility that libs Xcode or Y code can, even at this point, because you know libs Xcode can handle nested projects, you know, and can handle native projects in the sense that where you will load up an application project that includes other projects that will invoke, say, shell scripts or make files or something like that. I mean, all of that stuff works, and you know, Project Center can't do any of that. And so that's one of the. I mean, but I've been reluctant to work on Y code because of the fact that, first of all, I think if I do, you know, it's going to once it's mature, it's going to replace Project Center. Project Center. Um, but you know, as with all free software, I mean, Project Center can hang around, but it depends on who uses what. You know,
I know who uses it.
I know who uses it. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, I just I don't know. Anyway, let me see. I really wish where is so you,
What I really would like to see would be step talk integration into Gorm so that you can have simple scripting possibilities in interfaces so you can just rapidly prototype apps with just Gorm and then some scripting.
well, you know, there's already a step talk palette. You know that, right? There is and that this speaks to the what I was talking about. I don't know if he ever checked it in, but it is possible to. I think it is. Hold on, I think it is there. One second.
What is Step Talk? Is it like scripting like Python or something, and then like
Scripting language like small, it's I think it's Smalltalk actually, but using the OpenStep or Coco API.
okay,
Is this right, Gregory?
Yes, that's right. It is an implementation of Step Talk. Sorry, Small Talk based on top of GNUstep.
and Smalltalk came from Next or something, or like Apple?
No, Small Talk is from years before. Came from Xerox Park.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
see.
In the end, Objective-C is a mixture of C and Smalltalk.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was, and I'll have to find it. I mean, I don't think it's checked into the Step Talk directory, although I'll probably move it there when I find it. What it is there is a palette that you can tell Gorm to load that allows you to drag an object into the palette, into the main window, Lars, and then from there, what you can do is you can then write your code inside of Gorm in the inspector for that.
That's nice.
Huh?
I'll be right back. I have to use the restroom again.
Okay. Yeah, it basically allows you to write the code inside of the inspector. The editor is not very great, but you can write code for talking to given different objects inside of that inspector. And I actually saw what the guy who wrote it, he demonstrated it, and it basically he was able to write almost a complete application inside of Gorm without having to have any source code at all, which was wild.
It has a bit of Hypercard feeling. I liked Hypercard very much in the days.
Yeah.
You know Hypercard?
Oh yeah, I love HyperCard. It was good. It was cool. Yeah, I wish I could find that. Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to recreate that. But yeah, there is one. There was rather a palette that allowed you to do this, but I don't think we preserved it. I think it's somewhere else. Hey, Fred.
Hi.
Have you been at the hairdresser?
Yeah, Petra cut my hairs. Just
Okay.
as I thought you saw that on Monday
No,
or
I didn't.
Tuesday. Oh,
It just was a late night. Maybe the night was different. I didn't.
Yeah.
so you're no longer concerned with me switching off the pictures. You have other things to talk about than my hairstyle.
Okay.
Your hair is fine, man. No problem. We were just talking to Joe. Actually, I was talking to Lars about the Step Talk palette we used to have that would allow people to implement stuff inside of Gorm without actually having to build any code. So yeah, I mean, and Fred, I apologize. I'm sorry about everything, man. I meant no disrespect in anything that we during our recent exchange.
Yeah, so fine.
Yeah, I mean, just please, man. We're kind of like siblings, because I have a great amount of respect for you. I love you like a brother, but sometimes we just don't see eye to eye. And I will admit, I can be kind of a rushed, impatient asshole, and for that, I really do apologize. And I am sorry. Just know that I have an immense amount of respect for you, brother. Okay, please accept my apology.
Yeah, sure. It's yeah. The others probably don't know what we're talking about, so it makes no sense to.
Yeah, no, it's fine, and it's yeah, me and
Yeah.
just so people know, Fred and I had a disagreement with respect to some of the code that I merged because I slammed something in, and I was worried about the release that we have coming up, and I was not.
Are we going to have a release? That's what I'm worried about. I really would like to see a release,
Well,
but nobody talks about releases.
we were discussing it about a couple weeks ago on the mailing list because we have our 35th anniversary coming up.
Yeah.
I think it's on the 11th, and so some people were suggesting that we have a release in order to commemorate that, and that is something that I am not opposed to. I mean, but that's actually that's why I was alarmed, because I was like, it's coming up, so I need to get this in there, and so I mean, but yeah, so basically, I don't know. I mean, do you know? Have you heard anything? Because without you and Richard saying that we're doing a release, we're not doing a release unless you and Richard say we are.
Yeah, and I remembered Richard replying that he thought that it was too hushed or so, so he would like a bit more time to prepare for a release.
Yeah.
From my side, from GUI and back, having a release would be fine at any point in time.
Yeah, I mean, and for Gorm and libxcode, I would say that libxcode has been stable for quite a while, but with Gorm, I had to make some changes because I think there were some alterations inside of either that somebody had made inside of Gorm that interfered with grouping. So what I did is I basically pulled all of the old grouping code out. You know how when you basically have a bunch of views and you can say group all of this inside of a scroll view, a box, and so on. Somebody made a change. It was probably me that broke that. And what I did is I basically pulled all of that code out, redid it, and made one method that calls template methods on each of the groupable, like the NS split view, the NS box, and so on, and rewrote parts of the editor to handle that. And I also am implementing binding support, and that will not be ready for any kind of release anytime soon inside of Gorm. Not binding support like in GUI, since we know that it kind of exists at the moment, even though it's incompatible with the new KVO stuff, which I've been meaning to talk to you about. I need to understand, because what I did was compatible with the old KVO style. What's his name did, I can't remember his name. Young man from Germany. He's like 18. He works now for App Portable. He wrote the KVO stuff so that it uses the new approach and then left out the old methods. Do you remember this? So
I knew about the new implementation. Yes.
Yeah, and his new implementation completely breaks all the old stuff. And I was kind of upset about that. So I'm using the old KVO stuff so it still works on my stuff, but we need to fix that and make it so that the new KVO stuff properly implements the old functionality, because those old functions are still available in macOS. But anyway, I mean, aside from that, I'm trying to implement binding support so that we can create bindings connectors inside of Gorm. That's not going to be ready. And I also created a very trivial inspector for simple views, because I'm tired of seeing that default inspector when we have no other inspector come up for anything. So yeah, I mean, that's ready, but the stuff for the binding stuff is not going to be ready. But I think, did you see the stuff I did for toolbars? That it's now possible to edit toolbars inside of Gorm? Did I show you that?
No, I didn't look at that code in Gorm. Sorry.
Oh, okay, well, I'll show it to you guys in a second. I think I showed this during the last meeting. I'm restarting my VNC viewer. Okay. So you guys have to get ready for my very small, high-resolution screen here. There we go. Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I added this about a month and a half ago, and basically what it allows is, I added a couple of palettes, one for toolbars and one for like the other formatters that I had added. After when the person who came in and noticed that there were some bugs in some of these formatters, I started implementing this so that I could actually test all of them, and just sort of drag and drop them into the GUI. But oops, hold on, sorry, I wanted to do that. But along the way, I added toolbar support, which is just now as simple as doing this. And of course, now we have a way to add different components. And we have a way to add default components. We have a way to add allowed components. And you can add, it has, of course, the default identifier, whether it's visible or not, so on and so forth. There's probably some things I can do a little differently here. Since like bespoke components are something that you add sort of in the code, then I left that to, when it runs, when you add it, there manually. But I think what I can do here is I might be able to add like a way to, to add a string so that people can define their own allowed components. But yeah, so it's possible to work with toolbars now from Gorm. And I have confirmed that this actually exports to zip files just fine. So yeah. And of course we've got the formatter stuff. Like for instance, this of course adds the formatter for ISO. And in fact, this is something that's not supported on macOS. The ISO 8601 date formatter. We can edit it in Gorm now, but on macOS, this functionality isn't available. And of course, I created inspectors for all of these. I mean, as you can see, this is the mass formatter, the measurement formatter, the byte count formatter, 70 bytes. Yeah. So I mean, you can even make it so that in here, of course, is the sample. Let me see, allowed units. I can say gigabytes or petabytes, and this should actually update. It's not. So I have to figure out what that bug is. But yeah, I mean, so, but it is saving it in the Gorm file. So whatever we set here, it's going to show up when you load the Gorm file in the application. But yeah, so I mean, all of this stuff is I'm trying to get at least this and this ready for release. The views palette or the view palette, which is okay. Let me show you that. What I did here. This is the sort of see in view, right? Oh, it did not. Okay, let's do this. If this will review. All right. Ooh, I may not have had this. This is not the version of Gorm that I implemented this in, so I have to rebuild. 1 second. Let me see. I mean, for this, it's just a very minimal view inspector. It just allows you to, alter the frame and make changes to whether it's opaque or not. I just got tired of the inspector you just saw, where it lists
Yeah.
the methods come up when it doesn't really. I mean, when it works in some cases, but not in others, because when you have an object, like a setter that takes an object, it won't work. But if you have it, if it just takes a simple type like integer or stuff like that, then it'll work. But with this, that with this, that inspector should almost never come up now. Is what do you call it? Yeah, Joe is still here. Hey,
Yeah, I'm
Joe.
back. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was also staring at your Emacs screen.
Yay, Emacs. You know what's funny? I upgraded to Trixie, and now I can't get it to switch back to the font that I prefer. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, see, it's just going to bring up this inspector. Very simple. If it has an identifier, it shows it. If it doesn't, it shows the frame, and it shows whether it's opaque, flipped, and then the tag. That's it. It's just something that so that you don't see that ugly old inspector anymore. So the only reason that should ever show up is if you have a view or something like that that's not supported, that doesn't have its own default inspector. So yeah, it just kind of makes it a little prettier. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on. But
What theme do you have running, by the way?
huh?
What theme do you have running, by the way? That's kind of like a dark mode.
Darkness. It's a version of the darkness theme that's in themes plugins.
Oh, okay.
Plugins dash themes. But the one there, it does the one. This one, the one that I have has a tile that makes it so that it shows that. But I think it's on a branch somewhere because I don't know where that tile is. I'll have to find it. But yeah, I'll have to commit that because it also shows up in blue rather than red. I think the red is a little bit disturbing. But yeah, but that's only my opinion. But yeah, hold on 1 second. I mean, other than that, I mean, as I told the guys earlier, Fred, I've been studying for my. I'm actually I don't know if you know this. I'm studying for my PhD. So I'm.
Oh, impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah. I just, 56, man, and I'm like, if I'm working in this field for the last 40, 35, 40 years, I may as well earn the letters. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I already know a lot of stuff, but it's nice to formalize it. You know what I mean? So it's just basically I'm doing it for me and not so much doing it because I need it. I'm doing it because I want it. But yeah, I was going to say, you guys notice I am, of course, running the most important application ever written for GNUstep, and this is
Interspace.
Interspace. Yeah. But yeah. But anyway, cool. But that's what I've been working on aside from my studies. But I would really love for you to see, Fred, what Joe has been working on because Joe's been working on some pretty impressive stuff. If you can give him a quick rundown, Joe, that would be cool.
Oh, sure. Hopefully I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, and Fred, what I've been also working on, and I showed them this earlier, was a build script for macOS, and I've got almost all the way through GUI, but I'm having a link error in when it tries to run make services, because I think it's getting confused as to what dynamic library it needs to talk to. But that could be something that's useful. I mean, that gets working in the future. But yeah, take it away.
So I was showing here earlier. This was the thumbnailer. So we can now take a screenshot here.
Yeah.
Name it. And hopefully, did I not save it? I thought I saved it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so it renders live previews with the thumbnailer now. Let's see, something new we also added. The work in progress sidebar. I haven't merged this yet. I'm still working out some bugs with it, but it now, crap. I hope I didn't lock it up again. I did.
That's the normal effect if you show something.
Yeah, it has a breadcrumbs thing here down at the bottom where you got, computer name, and then as you drill into folders, it'll show it. And all I really did was move what used to be at the top of G Workspace to the bottom and adjust the sizing and stuff. But the sidebar here thing was completely new code. I'd have to kill X real quick and come back to the meeting to show you, but you can cycle between like local domain, network domain, system domain, and then just with less clicks now get, to system apps, local apps, network apps. And then I'm actually running as a network user now, using the directory services thing we've been using for a while that has users NP lists and groups NP lists, and uses NFS and GNUstep RPC and things to GDO map and distributed objects to basically promote a server and like join as a client. So like just does advertising on the local network. So like if you have another Gershwin system, you can like open a terminal, run dscli join, and then you're on a network domain at that point. If you give me a second to kill this, I'll be right back and I can show you. Sorry.
See you.
Yeah. I won't be around too long for perhaps a quarter of an hour or so. Sorry, but as I told you previously in other meetings, it's always the time where I have to do dinner, and so it's 7 o'clock or quarter past now here in Freiburg.
Wait at least until Joe comes back.
Yeah, I will, sure. Just want to tell you so you're not surprised when I drop out shortly after his presentation.
Yeah.
Probably later on more people will join you, but then I will already be gone. At least I hope that more people will join. So your X server is back on?
I was trying to interrupt you guys and ask what time would be best, and I was like, "Why are they ignoring me? They're so rude." But I was on mute. But so what time would be best for you, Fred? Because I mean, I made it 11 because I wasn't sure whether or not is it later or earlier would work better for you.
The problem being on the weekends, everything in the evening is rather unsatisfying because often I go out on Saturday evenings after lunch, so after dinner. So it's hard to say on a Saturday. As for today, earlier wouldn't have worked out for me either.
Okay.
Although normally on a Saturday it would, but today we were hiking because today the weather is fine and tomorrow it was unsure whether the weather will be fine. So we decided to take a tour today. But normally late afternoon on Saturdays would work better for me. But I think there's no universal time that would suit everybody. So we have so many people from that many different countries and in different phases of life, so nothing will fit everybody.
Right. There's Joe.
So, Joe, would you like to go on with your presentation? I'm really curious.
Yeah, sorry. This is why I haven't merged it yet, because there's still more to work out. But because I'm daily driving on the system, it's a little quirky to share from. But yeah, you can see like as I click into things, it generates a breadcrumbs thing down here. It's effectively, like I said, the same thing that was at top, but smaller, less reduced spacing and things. And then it exposes the network users, network applications, and then you can have local users, local applications, and then this is my user that's on the NFS mounted share, and then if I go open a terminal, ds sudo ds. Sorry about the rendering thing here too, because I got compositing on. But it shows like a role. I'm a client. I'm connected to this server. That it shows the users and groups on that server, and I can actually add users to the server from this machine, because it's all basically just local, or sorry, network, and then like so my user and stuff, the encrypted hash that would normally be in like Etsy password is stored there. But then I'm using, the way I'm making all this work is an NSS module. Sorry about the rendering. Compositing. So where NSS switch would normally just have files for password group things, it's just got the Gershwin module loading before that, which then allows it to use the plist, which then if /network is mounted from the server, I can just log in and authenticate using those users, and it's not, it's just mounted. So unlike NIS, it's not like really sent over the wire per se. And then like what the server side looks like. Wait, forgot the password. So then it shows like clients and stuff that are connected to it, and right now I've got 2. But to the server, that's a local user. So all the same. So if I go here, desktop. Must have some kind of refreshing issue here. And of course I don't have a shortcut to desktop, so I have to fix that.
But you can find it in that Gmeloni and then desktop.
Users. Yeah, I was just trying to really think of what else to show off. There's the test file. I'm surprised we must have something going on with FS Watcher not refreshing. Oh, but then another thing, Fred, that it can do is like when we mount. Oh man, I locked it up again. So
well, just to say that
show
it's
up here.
great that you still use it daily. So I'm impressed by that even more. So
Thank you.
no, it's a nice functionality, but you really are behind it. That's impressive.
Thank you. But yeah, part of it is just I've got some I've got Pro Bono's menu performance branch where when we switch applications and stuff, it updates the menu very fast now instead of taking several seconds to switch and render menus. And then I've got this work in progress sidebar thing I've been working on that I'm trying to finish up so I can push. But just had to fix a few more things. I had a crash here the other day where I was using the side scroller and it would crash and log me back to the login window. I fixed that. And then I've just got some other issues that when I'm hovering over here, it's causing a lockup that I need to debug. But it's almost there. I got everything, visually tuned. I kind of shared it out there as a PR because this started as a discussion in GitHub. Someone had posted something earlier this year, and they proposed like a kind of a design proposal for a sidebar. And it's came up a lot as far as the file viewer not having a sidebar, and so I recently started a PR within the last couple of weeks and took some screenshots and asked for feedback, and got some good feedback, and then started making it look visually better based on the feedback, and I think it's going to be nice.
Yeah, and it would be great if you could extract parts that already work and make them public. That's something really important in open source projects, that you don't wait until you have everything finished, but as soon as it doesn't break more than it helps, you should try to get things out. And
so this is in a GitHub pull request, and then I've announced it everywhere. So everything that's here on my system is pushed to the branch. I just haven't merged it yet because I need to fix the couple of lockup issues. But yeah, definitely as soon as I fix this and I'm not locking up my system anymore, I'm definitely going to push it up and merge it.
But you should really check whether there are partly functional components in your merge request. You shouldn't wait for everything to be finished, but have separate split off merge requests with separate features, smaller changes. This is something I learned at work in the last years. It's always better to have code out there that's getting used than to wait for the perfect solution.
That's because I kind of thought about a toolbar as well for this, but I didn't want to I figured that'll be a separate PR later. And when we mount network volume, when we mount volumes now, it opens a new window, and I want to instead make it open in window if there's already a file viewer open. But stuff like that, I am gonna split up into separate pull requests. I mostly just wanted to fix this last lockup issue and then merge it. But that was kind of probably the first interface thing I've done for the project. It's been other people helping with that, but just kind of pretty happy with it so far.
Looks really polished already.
Yeah, thank you. I think that was probably all I had to show because I'm again locked up again, so all I can do is talk now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really impressive, man. Very, very, very impressive.
So I can't even stop sharing, actually. Probably do that.
Yeah, forever.
I'm stuck.
Should one of us take over the sharing then, which would throw you out?
No, this doesn't throw out. You can have all people share at the same time.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Okay. Here, I'll come back. It'll only take a second. Here.
Macht ihr gerade eine Pause?
Sozusagen.
Yeah, so Petra is already asking when I will be cooking, so I just wait for another 5 minutes and then I'll be gone.
Hey Joe,
So
welcome.
Lars, is Ubuntu working again for you?
No, I didn't have the time to fix it until now. I will have a session with Gregory possibly someday, because Gregory said it's not window maker broken, but some linking issues or maybe something like that. I don't know if I have the adapted window maker or the plain vanilla window maker.
Yeah, I apologize. I was on mute. What I had asked Lars is if he was using the version of Window Maker that actually includes a library, part of the GNUstep, so that it can accept stuff from GWorkspace, like just dragging in applications without having to start them. And this is on Mac OS, by the way, this build. So yeah, I mean, so what I suspect is happening with Lars's Window Maker is that it's probably the one that was built against GNUstep, and if he's using a version of GNUstep that was built from the repository, it's possible that the API is shifted, so maybe it's not compatible anymore. So now you're not able to start it because it's not linking properly. So yeah, you might want to. You just need to rebuild. I can get with you on that tomorrow, Lars, if you're okay with that. So it finished up base, and now it's building GUI, and it's going to get all the way through, and then it's going to try to run make services, and then it gets this error when it comes to the auto release pool stuff, because apparently it's trying to link against the wrong library somewhere, or it's hitting the wrong symbol. You'll see it here in a moment. So it's very close to being done. It's just not, because it's hitting this, and it's trying to test make services by parsing, GSpell.
Yeah, but this looks really bad invalid object.
Yeah.
So it's probably using a different library to detect whether something is an object. So there's an issue with the runtime, and not sure.
Yeah,
So I think Richard could help you more than I do here. So
yeah, I was thinking about putting this out on the mailing list and just saying, does anybody have any idea what's wrong, or just emailing you and Richard privately, so that all of us would understand. But I mean, I think if we got it working on Mac, it might be useful only in the sense of like debugging and comparison. Not so much, because it's kind of like running wine on Windows. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, but just to interrupt you, on previous attempt to get something compiled on the Mac, the hard bit wasn't to compile GNUstep itself, but to keep all the libraries separated. You see, a lot of the libraries that get linked into even base, again, use by themselves libobjective-C or another library from the Mac. So you really should check with LDD which libraries get included, and you need a full control on any of those libraries.
I see what you're saying.
You understand what? So this was the main stopping point when people try to get GNUstep running on the Mac. It's not the library itself, but all the other libraries that we rely on. Best thing is to reduce the libraries that you configure into GNUstep base to a minimum. And for GNUstep GUI, it's harder because there we have plenty of libraries for graphics handling, and all these have to come from a different source, not from Apple, and not include any Apple library.
Maybe it would be also good to have support for Mac ports, not just Ubuntu, because Mac port separates those library versions better from each other.
That's possibly true. I don't know whether or not. No, I mean, I don't know whether or not it will. Okay, let me think before I speak. I think Fred is absolutely right. I think in order to use some of these libraries, we might have to build them strictly with GCC and try to weed out any of the references to Mac libObjective-C or Apple's,
Yeah, I think so.
because if one of those libraries links against one of Apple's runtimes, it could replace some of the symbols that we are trying to refer to, and therefore it's basically contaminating the build. So he's right. I think you're right, Fred. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, I have to drop out now. As I said, I have to cook something. Green asparagus, to be
I have
more
to go.
precise.
I have to go as well, but nice seeing you, Fred.
Yeah, nice seeing your code,
Okay.
and good luck with stabilizing it.
Thank you.
It already looks beautiful, but if it's still hanging up that often, you shouldn't put that parts out. But other
Yeah.
parts, perhaps, don't be reluctant to split up your merge requests.
Oh, for
or
sure.
pull requests. Yeah.
Well, Fred, I already told you.
Okay.
I already
Have a
told you.
nice evening,
You
all
too.
of you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Later.
Yep. I'll catch you guys later as well.
Bye bye.
All right.
See ya.
So remember
Bye.
to ask for that raise, by the way.
Oh yes. Thanks.
All right, then.
See ya.
Yeah, this seems
Okay.
like a good place to end, and I'm glad that Fred and I talked. Let me see. But yeah, let me stop sharing. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna stop recording. All right, bye guys. See you on the next one. Don't hang up yet, Lars.